Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to a new Juju Live Session. I was just here getting inspired and relaxing for this session on what it takes to become a professional Oriental dancer. Okay, let's dive into this one and feel welcome to share your questions if you have some. Feel welcome to share your feedback if you happen to be a professional Oriental dancer already, a teacher, a performer, someone who lectures, someone who choreographs, someone who is involved on a professional level in the field of Egyptian dance. I would love to hear from you. So make sure you share your feedback, your experience on how you became a professional Oriental dancer in the comments to this live session. And the ones who want to become a professional Oriental dancer are, in my opinion, the most interested, or should be. So take advantage of my presence here and throw at me all the questions you may have. Okay, I'm going to answer to the best of my ability on what it takes to become a professional Oriental dancer. Yes, before we dive into it, I have to follow the protocol. So my name is Joana Saahirah. I'm a world-renowned Oriental dancer, teacher, choreographer, author, and I'm also the creator of the pioneering Joana Saahirah's World and Joana Saahirah's online dance school, delivering authentic Egyptian dance, personal discovery, and empowerment. I am going to share, once we wrap this live session, the link to our newsletter and also the link to a free learning page we have at our official website. You can see it right here. It's right here. Yes, there it is. For the ones who want to go ahead and check our free learning page and our media page with loads of free goodies on authentic Egyptian dance and personal development, feel welcome to dive into these goodies. They are shared with love. And without further ado, I am going to start reading from the questions I have selected. There were so many questions because, as you can imagine, having performed, worked, studied, researched in Egypt for such a long time, and then having worked around the world, I have gathered a very wide experience of the market and of the business and of the art of Egyptian dance from all spectrums. So I receive emails and Facebook messages, Instagram messages from dancers, I would say almost every day, asking me something about how did you become this and what did you do, what you did not do. So there are so many questions to select from. I selected the ones that I felt were going to be the most helpful for most people. Okay, but then again, if you happen to be watching this live, or even if you watch the replay and you have a question you would like me to answer, please feel welcome to share it in the comments. Okay, now let's start. Question number one: how have you become a professional Oriental dancer? How have I become a professional Oriental dancer? Okay, I'm gonna try to answer shortly and in a way that may be inspiring to you, I hope. So I never thought about becoming a professional Oriental dancer. I never had a particular interest in Egypt or Egyptian music or Egyptian dance. I had no one in my family that was involved with it. I had no interest whatsoever in this field. Now, I've always been a dancer. Okay, so I started dancing when I was very little, and dance has always been a part of my life. And I tried many kinds of dances. I had and still have a huge passion for flamenco. That has to do also with my childhood and my Spanish influences. And I had a big passion for Bharatanatyam, which is a classical style in the classical Indian dances. I had no clue that one day I would become a professional Oriental dancer in Egypt, around the world. I would have a school, a global community. No idea. It was not in my mind. The thing is, the first time I got into contact with Egyptian dance by chance in a festival of ethnic dances, I realized that I had found my language. It was a shock. It was a big surprise. It was love at first sight, and it never stopped growing. More than 20 years later, it did not stop growing. Yes, so this is in a nutshell, okay? I fell in love very suddenly, no pre-planning, no interest, previous interest, and very fast I went from student to teacher, from teacher to performer, from performer in my country to performer in Egypt. It was very fast. I would say abnormally fast. Okay. Now, what else? What is the worst and the best part of being a professional Oriental dancer? I'm going to answer the worst part first. Okay. For me, and this is a very personal answer. Okay. The worst part of being a professional Oriental dancer is actually two things. Okay, one thing is having to deal with prejudice on such a high, intense, and stubborn level. That is true for Egypt. It is certainly true for the Western world. So when you become a professional Oriental dancer, you will be surrounded by prejudices and misconceptions and myth and a kind of a underlying disrespect that is very transversal. So you will find it in Egypt big time, and you will find it in the Western world as well, although a little bit less, I have to admit, a little bit less. Nonetheless, this meeting between what you know the dance is and what you know you do, and what the world thinks you do, and what the world outside presumes your art is, that clash between these two worlds, these two realities, is tiring. And it's something that drains you and bores you. At least it bores me to death. Okay, I have no patience anymore for anyone who comes to me and asks me, you know, if I do an exotic striptease or whatever. I mean, it is rare. But when it happens, I say, yeah, I do an exotic striptease. Yes, at the top of the pyramids in Giza. Oh yeah, at the top of the pyramid, I get naked. That's what I do. Khalas, ba, I have no patience anymore. So dealing with the prejudices and the ignorance and a very stubborn set of twisted ideas about Egyptian dance and about the real work of an Oriental dancer is certainly a downside. And also, I would say that there is what Elizabeth Gilbert calls, and pardon my French, the shit sandwich, which is, I think, a part of every job, which is things you have to do that you really do not like in order to do what you like. Okay, so that can be promoting yourself, or dealing with money, or dealing with selling, or dealing with presenting your work. There is always a part of the job that you don't like that much. For me, for instance, it's numbers. I don't like to deal with numbers. And as a professional dancer who has been living for and from Egyptian dance for more than 20 years exclusively, damn, I really have to deal with numbers and I don't like it. That's my shit sandwich. Okay, that's the sandwich I say, okay, I'm gonna eat because I love what I do. But in order to do what I love, I have to do certain jobs that I'm really not fond of. Since opening my school, Joana Saahirah's Online Dance School, for instance, I had to learn about marketing. I never liked marketing and I was never good at it. I had to learn about sales. I had to learn about, then again, more numbers. I had to learn about technological things that I'm not good at. I'm not naturally good at it. I had to learn about microphones and cameras and lighting. That's not my cup of tea, but I had to learn those things in order to build the platform and the school of my dreams. So very often, in order to dance, to teach, to choreograph, to perform, to do the thing that you love, You have to do other things you don't like that much. And you will eventually have to learn skills that otherwise you would choose not to learn. Okay? So that is the second thing that I find a downside to the reality of being a professional Oriental dancer. But I think you will have a downside to every career. Every profession has a downside. There is always something you don't like that much. Now, what do I like the most about being a professional Oriental dancer? And oh my God, there is a lot here. So first of all, it's the privilege of doing what I love. And I'm going to stress this word, love, okay? Because I think this is a key for anyone who wants to become a professional. If you love fame, success, attention more than you love the dance itself, you're not going to make it, and you're not going to make it for a long time. I mean, you can make it for a while, and you may have attention, you may have likes, you may have followers. That does not equal a career, okay? And these days, there is this dangerous confusion between, oh, people like my video or they like my photo, they have liked it a lot, they have commented a lot, I have many followers, that means I'm a professional, successful Oriental dancer? It doesn't. What makes you a professional Oriental dancer, aside from delivering professional level work, is your ability to live exclusively from your work in a dignified, comfortable, exciting, respectful way. That's what makes it. At the end of the day, your work in dance has to pay the bills. And I know that a lot of dancers don't like me to speak like this because it is not fluffy and glamorous and romantic, but it is the reality. So it is important to love the craft more than anything else. And that's what will take you down the long road. Okay, so one of the best things about being a professional Oriental dancer for me is the fact that I really love it. And everyone who comes in contact with my work can tell that. Either as a performer, as a teacher, as a choreographer, when I lecture, when I write about it, you can feel the love, you can feel the passion. This is something that I've been hearing as a feedback for such a long time. And it is true, I really love it. So having the privilege of doing what I love the most, this is an upside to being a professional Oriental dancer. Another upside for me is a contact with a dance form and a culture that keeps teaching me things. So I started more than 20 years ago, but I feel I'm just starting because I'm constantly learning. I have my private coaching programs with dancers from all over the world. I have my school. I have my books. I'm working on books. I have my podcast coming. I have so much happening. And all of it, the choreographing, the teaching, the performing, the organizing, the creation behind all these platforms, they keep teaching me. I learn from this craft every day. And for me, a freak for learning, I love learning, this is definitely a plus. It's definitely an upside to being a professional Oriental dancer. Another thing I really love about it is the ability to do a job that serves other people but serves me as well. Okay, so I believe that I have grown so much as a person because of my job, because of my career. I believe that on a personal level, I have matured, I have known myself, I have empowered myself, I have built my identity so much through my craft, so much because of my job. And this is definitely an upside. Last but not least, I would say that one of the things I love the most about being a professional Oriental dancer is actually meeting very interesting people. Yes. It is not a perfect environment. And when you dive into Egyptian dance, may that be in Egypt, around the world, in your local markets, in the international market, online, physical work, you're going to meet a lot of nasty people, a lot of envy, a lot of hatred, a lot of comparison and competition, a lot of nasty things. Make no mistake. And I've seen it all. But I have not allowed it to contaminate me. My soul is untouchable. So I see the beauty and I see the good people, and believe me, there is also very nice people in this field. It is true in Egypt, it is true in the Western world. So I have met some of the most interesting individuals in this field because I'm working in this field for such a long time and at its highest level in Egypt and around the world. Now, before I dive into the next question, let me see if you have dropped your own questions or not. Hi, Anna. Hi, Nuraya. Hi, Mango. Hi, sweetie. Mango says beauty. Oh, thank you, sweetie. You are beautiful. Anna says, no true artist from the heart likes to deal with numbers. Yeah, I guess not. I definitely don't. But I had to learn how to deal with it. Okay, this is the shit sandwich I was talking about. And you just have to accept that in order to do what you actually love, you end up having to learn and to do things that you don't really like. But, you know, it's all worth it. Because we love our job, and if we could, we wouldn't want to charge for it, but we have to. Absolutely, absolutely. By the way, it is interesting that Anna mentions charging for it. So one of the questions I have selected has to do with how much Oriental dancers earn and how much we charge. And when we get to it, I'm going to tell you what I think about charging, because it's actually a very important thing. And this is one of those things that I learned very early on, okay? Because what you charge for your work is a reflection of the value you attribute to your work and ultimately the value you attribute to yourself. So this is a hot topic. I hope I don't forget that question because I have it here selected. So let's dive into question number 2, and please, then again, feel welcome to share your questions if you have some, okay? So what do I have to do in order to become a professional Oriental dancer? Oh my God. What do I have to do in order to become a professional Oriental dancer? Now, let's see if I can put this in a clear way, objective way, and relatively short way, because this is a big question with big answer. I believe it all starts with your vision for your work, right? I mean, what do you mean being a professional Oriental dancer? For some of us, being a professional Oriental dancer means teaching, having your own school. For some of us means performing. For some of us means researching and writing about it. I mean, if you look at the market of Egyptian Oriental and folkloric dance in Egypt and outside of Egypt, you're going to find there are professionals that are not necessarily doing all of these things at once. I do all of these things at once because I'm a freak. But usually you will have someone who is predominantly a performer or a teacher or someone who makes research and writes about it, you know, or someone who is a great choreographer, usually, all right? So you have to define, what is your vision? What would you like your work in this field to be? And that vision evolves with time, okay? I started focusing on performing. That was my first focus. Then I started teaching and performing. Then when I moved to Egypt, I was for a good number of years only performing. Very rarely I was teaching. I was just teaching with Mahmoud Reda, and I was teaching at my home privately to students who came to Cairo, and mostly they would come to see me perform and then they would take private classes with me, but my focus was on performing. Then when I started to travel the world, to get invited for festivals around the world, I was teaching and performing and judging and lecturing and choreographing a lot for other dancers. And then when I started to think about having my own school, but having freedom of mobility, being able to have a school no matter where I am, and freedom on a creative level, when I dreamt about the school, then I had to focus on another path, another direction. So what I'm trying to tell you is that although you need an initial vision, what is this gonna look like for me? What do I want my work in this field to be? Where am I gonna focus? With time, your vision evolves, and it often changes. And I think it's healthy that you allow it to change so that you can evolve with time, evolve with the market, with the world, with your own inspiration, with what your soul is asking you to do. It's very important to set an initial vision, but then be flexible and grow as you go, okay? But teaching is one path, performing is another path, researching, writing, lecturing is another path, organizing events, so focusing on the organization part of the job is another path. It really depends on where your passion is, where your major talent is, because some of us are great teachers, we are not great performers. Some of us are great performers, we're not great teachers. Some of us are amazing choreographers and we're terrible teachers and terrible performers. I mean, you will find so many variations and so many different skills and visions and directions. You really have to start from a point of clarity and then evolve with time and see where the market is taking you, where you want to take yourself, what is the world needing as well, because if you want to become a professional, you always have to play or dance between what you want and what the world needs, right? It's not only about what you want. Very often in my school, for instance, I have to ask my students, what do you want? What do you need? How can I help? Because as an artist, the tendency is to do what we feel, right? I will do what's in my heart. But if you need to live from this work, if you need to sell shows, courses, lectures, whatever you sell, books, whatever you sell, you need to have the humbleness to ask, what does the world need? How can I find a sweet spot between what I have to offer, what I, as an artist, as a teacher, as a writer, an author, want to offer, and what the world needs? You have to find that middle term, that sweet spot. Otherwise, you will be dancing for yourself and teaching alone and writing for yourself and doing it all for yourself. There will be no audience. If you care for your audience, the audience grows. If you serve your audience grows. If you presume that this is all about you and your needs and your vision and what you feel like doing, you're going to end up alone. There is no space for growth. So having this clear vision of where you want to do, what you want to do, and where you want to go, allowing it to evolve with time, and also asking yourself, what do I have to offer? What is my forte? What are my talents? And what does the world need? And finding that sweet spot, okay, between what you have to offer and what other people need from you. How can I serve my community? How can I serve my audience? If I'm performing, how can I serve my clients, my students if I'm teaching? How can I help the dance itself in a healthy, beautiful way? How can I dignify this art form? And how can I serve my audience, my clients, the people who are going to invest in my work? Okay, having this humbleness is important. And a lot of dancers get hooked on, I'm the artist, I'm going to do what I feel, screw everyone. And ultimately, they don't end up in a good place, because then again, if you don't focus on your audience doesn't focus on you. It is that simple, okay? Also, you have to unite the skills, the education, the preparation that will allow you to bring your dance to a professional level, okay? So you will have to study with professional teachers in a good school. You will have to push yourself technically in terms of musicality, in terms of knowledge around the history, the culture, the mentality. You're going to have to educate yourself, basically, so that you can educate others, so that you can perform for others. Education is super important. And here I also find a frequent misconception, which is, if I'm talented, I don't need to study. I'm talented. I've watched a couple of videos on YouTube, I'm fine. This is pure idiotic, because it doesn't matter how talented you are. It takes a lot of work and study and polishing and continuous learning processes in order to become, to remain, and to grow as a professional Oriental dancer. I would go even as far as saying that the most talented dancers are usually the most hardworking. The most talented dancers are usually the ones who study the most, who study for the longer, who invest in their education continuously. Ironically, those are the ones who work the most. And educating yourself is a question of respect. Respect for yourself, respect for your future clients. May that be people who hire you to perform, or students, or whoever hires you for your work. It's also a question of respect for the craft itself. And it gives you confidence, okay? Which is another very important skill for you to do your job, to sell your job, to promote your job. If you don't have confidence in what you know, what you're doing, nobody will have confidence in you, right? If I try to sell you a product for hair, okay, I know nothing about hair, okay, I'm low maintenance. I know nothing about hair. So, but if I try to sell you a product to take care of my hair, do you think I'm going to succeed? I won't. Because I don't have the knowledge about hair care. I don't have it. I don't have the knowledge, I don't have the interest, I don't have the study put into it. I'm not going to be convincing. I'm not going to be able to promote, to sell, to serve around hair care because I don't have the education around it. So I don't even have the confidence to sell a product to take care of hair. Okay, so I think most of us underestimate the power of education, especially when we feel we are talented. I'm talented. I don't need to educate myself. I don't need to study that much. This happens very frequently. I have met dancers in my private coaching, at Joana Saahirah's online dance school, at the festivals where I taught around the world. They would come to me and tell me, Joana, I've been studying for 1 year, but actually I think I'm pretty talented. What do you think? And I say, yeah, you are talented. Okay, I think I'm good, right? I don't need to keep studying. I can start teaching. And although I understand the urgency and the enthusiasm and the impatience, because I went through that, okay? I was also very happy to start teaching and performing, very eager to do it. But there is a minimum of preparation that will allow you to start building a name for yourself. And remember that when we speak about becoming a professional Oriental dancer, we're not speaking about dancing for a few years. At least I'm not speaking about that. I'm speaking about a career for life. Okay, so think about legacy. Think about what people will tell when they speak about your name. Think about the reputation you build. You want to make sure that you build the best possible reputation from the beginning, from the get-go, so that you don't screw things up for you, so that you don't shoot yourself in the feet. Okay, so education and preparation is essential, aside from having the vision of where you want to focus. Do I want to become more of a performer? Do I want to invest in teaching? Do I want to do research and write and lecture? Where do I want to go? Or maybe a combination of this, right? Another thing you need to do in order to become a professional Oriental dancer is to build business, promotion, and selling skills. Sorry, guys. I know that most of you don't like this, and I don't like it either, okay? Actually, I'm a little better at it because I think that selling something that is amazing is actually serving. So I see selling one of my courses or one of my shows or one of my books as an act of service, because I know the one who is going to receive it is going to receive value, and value that is often changing their life. So I'm very confident in this, but it took me a long time to be confident in this, because I did not like selling, and I did not like business, and I did not like to present and to promote my work. It was never my thing, believe it or not. I had to learn how to do it. Also because I believe that selling your work helps you to define what you do. Curiously enough, when you have to promote your work, when you have to present your work and sell it, I'm not talking about fishing for likes and followers, guys. You would rather have less followers and less likes, but sell a lot of work so that you're actually living from your dance, than having a lot of likes, a lot of followers, and nobody pays for your work. That's not what you want, believe me. So we're focusing on the real thing, all right? Unless you are an Instagrammer or an YouTuber who gets paid for how many people are watching your videos or how many likes you have, if you're actually getting paid from your dance work, focus on knowing that you have the best product to sell, and also focus on learning how to sell it as if selling was an act of service, because it can be. All right. So these are the main things I believe you need in order to become a professional Oriental dancer. It's a vision. Where do I want to go? Where do I want to focus? The education, the preparation, the knowledge. Okay. So that you can actually call yourself a professional, and then learning how to promote and sell and deal with business, and realize that if you want to do this professionally, it's an art form, it's a love, it's a joy, but it's also a business. It's also business. If you decide to take it to the professional level, you have to start to think of it as business as well. Okay? Last but not least, it also helps to be confident. But I believe confidence comes from confidence in yourself as a person, confidence in your talent, and confidence in your preparation. When I know that I know, it shows. When I know that I don't know, it shows. And confidence sells. Yes? I've already mentioned that, but I'm just repeating it. Okay, so what else do we have here? Let me see. Can I become a professional Oriental dancer if I'm in my 50s? Okay, so this was an isolated question I received. I've received age-related questions often. I just took one of these questions that I received via email. So you can replace the 50s for 60s or 70s or 30s or 40s, whatever, okay? Let me see what you're saying, guys, before I answer this. Mango is saying studying is respect. Absolutely, absolutely. It's respect for yourself, respect for the dance, respect for the people you're going to serve. May that be your audience that is going to watch you perform, or your students, or anyone who receives your work, okay? Studying is an act of respect, 100%. Hi, Kay. Kay says, so true, teacher Joana, one need to be constantly seeking more knowledge and keep improving. Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is usually a sign of a mature and talented person. Okay. Usually the most talented, as I mentioned, are the ones who invest in their education the most. How crazy is that? And the less talented are the ones who presume they don't need it. Go figure. Okay. Kay says, to be professional and stay professional, an awareness of the current needs are quite important. Yes. Because the world, guys, the world is constantly evolving, and the markets are constantly evolving, okay? So you need to pay attention to what is happening around you. You cannot be totally closed in your cocoon, do what you have in mind, and say, screw the rest. I don't care. You're not going to be able to do that for a long time, because circumstances change, markets change, fashion changes. And I'm not saying you have to sell yourself, okay? I'm not saying you have to deny your vision or to drop your dream in order to do what everybody else thinks you should be doing. That's not what I'm saying, but there is always a balance that you need to find, you need to create between what I feel like doing and what the market that I am working with actually needs. Okay, so I'm going to give you examples. Sometimes I have ideas of courses for my school, for Joana Saahirah's online dance school, that I would really like to make, but these are personal choices. They are personal wishes. I always have to ask myself, do my students need this? So when I am brainstorming on what program or what course, what product I'm going to launch next, I'm either answering to the direct requests of my students. So people reach out to me and they tell me, Joana, what I really need is help with my technique, or what I really need is help with my self-confidence. What I really need is a training on sensuality. What I really need is a training on shabi. What I really need is to know more about folklore, whatever, you know. So I'm either answering the request of people, or I'm doing something that's in my mind, but I always ask, who will benefit from this? And how will they benefit from this? Do they need this? And if the answer is not really, I put it aside. You know, it doesn't mean I will never make it, I'll never do it, but in most cases, I'll put it aside and wait for the right moment to launch that product. Wait for the moment when people are ready for it, when people are asking for it, when the world is open to it. So there is this level of attention that you need to develop to the world outside of you, as well as to the world within you. Okay? The world within you is the artist world. What do I feel like to create, right? What do I want to create? What would I feel like doing right now? What would I like to choreograph? What kind of show would I like to put together? What kind of course would I like to create? This is the artist. This is your inner world. This is your soul. This is your creativity flowing. It's beautiful. But don't forget that if you're doing this professionally, someone will have to be interested, right? And someone will have to benefit from it. So always ask, do I love it? Do I love this idea that I have in my mind? Yes, I do. Okay. Would other people love it and benefit from it? And if the answer is not really, I would think twice. Okay? I'm talking about doing it professionally. Guys, let me remind you, if we are doing this as a hobby, khalas ba, do whatever you want. You don't have to care about what the community needs, what your clients need, what your students need, what someone who hires you for a show needs, what kind of benefit they're gonna reap from hiring you. You don't have to consider all that if you're just doing it as an amateur. But if you're doing it as a professional, my advice and my experience is that you have to consider what is the benefit that you're offering. If people want that benefit, need that benefit, and are ready for that benefit. Okay, so a good sense of your inner world and a good sense of the outside world, very important. Okay, let me see what you are sharing with me. Let me see. Hi, Stuno. Hello. Good morning. All right, guys. So let your questions come. I'll be checking on you every once in a while. Let me read the upcoming question. So that was, can I become a professional Oriental dancer if I'm in my 50s? Okay, I'm going to tell you a story, a real life story to answer this one. In one of the festivals where I was teaching and performing and judging, there was this competition. Okay, so I was one of the judges, and in this competition there was a lady, a dancer, well into her 50s, close to 60s. Okay, she was clearly the best dancer, and I mean clearly. Sometimes you still have to think about it, you know, because when you're judging in a competition, you have criteria, right? So you have like technical level and musicality and visual presentation and charisma and interpretation. You have different criteria that you use to evaluate the dancers and to judge. And sometimes, you know, dancers are pretty close to each other. So you have to think about it. Who should win? That was a clear win, okay? For me, her age was not a factor because that's not how my head works, okay? It is definitely not how my head works. And if you look at the world at large, you can see people starting careers in every area at every age, okay? So for me, what actually matters is the quality of what you deliver. I do not care if you are 20 or 50 or 60 or 70 or 40 or 30. It's not a factor for me, Joana, okay? A factor is how well do you deliver your stuff? I mean, are you a great dancer? Can you deliver? Can you build and present an amazing performance? Can you build and present an amazing course or workshop or class? Can you actually lecture if needed? Can you write about Egyptian dance like a pro? Can you deliver the goodies? This is the question. This is the only question. I don't care if you are an alien with 200 years old. You know, I don't care. As long as you deliver the goodies, right? Now, this is not how the world works. And I started telling you this story because the crazy thing was I scored that dancer, that older dancer, with a maximum punctuation because for me it was like a no-brainer. Of course, she's the best, so she deserves to take the prize, number one. But my colleagues disagreed. And they disagreed because she was the older dancer. So, the question of age and professional Oriental dancing is tricky. The world is still very narrow-minded, and I think the world is still not very ready for some groundbreaking women and groundbreaking new rules. But it is up to us to create those groundbreaking rules. So I do believe, yes, it is possible to be a professional Oriental dancer in your 50s if you can deliver the goodies. But that would be my answer if you asked me, can I be a professional Oriental dancer in my 20s? I would answer the same thing. Okay, so it is not a question of being 50 or 60 or 70 or 30 or 20 or 15. No, it is a question, let me repeat, of how well does your body work? Can you dance? Can you deliver? Do you have the mobility? Do you have the strength? Do you have the quality of movement for a great performance, for instance? Do you have the musicality? Do you have the charisma? Do you have the communicational skills? Do you have the ability to move your audience? If you're a teacher, do you know your craft? Do you know your things? Can you move? Can you show the movements? Can you teach? And in that respect, let me bring you another reference. I worked, as many of you know, with Mahmoud Reda, and I taught with Mahmoud Reda. In his later years, he was not moving much. So he would teach me the choreographies, he would pass the information to me, and I was the one actually doing it. So he would sit most of the time, just correcting from afar, and I would understand the corrections. I would do the corrections with the students, and I would do the entire workshop and teach the entire choreographies, okay? Mahmoud was still teaching, and he was still Mahmoud Reda, and he was still there well into his 80s, okay? So the question of age really, in my opinion, relates to the value you bring to the table. If you still bring value to the table, you have a place at the table. If you do not bring value to the table, you don't have a place at the table. And that is true for dancers in their 50s, in their 40s, in their 30s, in their 20s, in their 200s. Okay? I would not like for dancers to quit their dream just because of their age. And I know that a lot of dancers presume I'm too old for this. Don't think like that. Do not think like that. If you feel you're talented, if you are prepared, if you are trained, if you are educated, or if you are educating yourself, and if you feel that you can contribute, you can bring something good to this field, you can add something wonderful to this craft, go about it and do it. Don't quit. Don't allow the world to tell you just because of your age you cannot do it. That is total bullshit, guys. Sorry for the the French. Yeah, it's total bullshit. Yes, it is harder because people expect a different look for Oriental dancers, but we are here to break barriers. We are here to break prejudices. As a performer, I'm not there to fulfill the expectations of my audience. I'm there to serve them as a performer. I'm there to bring some value to their lives as a performer. And if that means breaking barriers and prejudices in relation to age, be it. How exciting is that? And of course, with times and with healthcare and with habits of self-care, there are more and more older dancers active. Some of the best Oriental dancers I've ever seen were at their best in their 50s and 60s. So I would not like for you to think that age is an impediment. If you feel you have the talent, if you have the knowledge, if you have the preparation, and if you're really eager to add something to this field and to serve your art and to serve the ones who enjoy your art, okay? What else? Do I need to be great at everything? Teaching, performing, lecturing, promoting, selling? Okay, this is a tricky question. This is a tricky question. I believe it all goes down to what you're good at, what you're really talented at. And I've already mentioned that I know great choreographers who are terrible teachers and terrible performers. I know great performers who are terrible teachers and terrible choreographers. I know great researchers and authors who cannot dance to save their life. Okay? So it really depends on where your talent resides. Usually, there will be an area where you will be better, usually. I started as a performer. So my forte, until today, I believe is performing. Okay? This is where I am at my best. Live performance. With orchestra. My orchestra, if I can. Okay? This is where I'm at my best, at my peak. But I also believe that I excel at teaching. I'm not so good at selling, promoting. I'm definitely not as good in the organization side of the job. So knowing where your forte or fortes are and investing in those areas is a smart thing to do, knowing nonetheless that nowadays, in order to make it in a big, consistent and long-term way, I believe you will have to be good at many things at the same time. Why? First of all, because the market requests it. Second, because when you're very good at different areas, in different things, you can always flow from one area to the other and you can survive and thrive from your work. Imagine that I'm only good at performing. I assume I'm only a performer. I don't write about Egyptian dance. I don't lecture. I don't judge. I don't teach. I don't choreograph. I'm only a performer. Okay? I'm very cool. This is dangerous. It is dangerous because the markets change. It is dangerous because you may lose your job. It is dangerous because it's only one source of income. And that's tricky. I have lived exclusively from performing for almost 10 years in Egypt. But that's wow, that's amazing. But I worked my ass off. Okay, I was working every day. So that is an exceptional situation. But even in that situation, very often I would think, what if for some reason I don't want to perform anymore? What if for some reason something happens and I lose my job? What if for some reason something happens? I cannot rely only on one thing. So I have to be teaching and I have to be writing and I have to be doing something else to support and to create a different source of income that I can flow from and to throughout time. So my suggestion is that you would focus more on your forte, see what area you're really strong at, and focus, I would say, 90% of your energy there, energy and time and resources. But developing different sides of the job is a smart thing to do, especially if you want to do this for the long run, okay? Because then again, you will float from one thing to the other. Right now in my work, I perform, I teach, I lecture, I organize, I create courses, I write and publish, I have books selling, I'm writing a new book. I mean, I'm working on all fronts and growing because I'm aware that the world changes, and I'm aware that these are also areas that I can actually excel at because I work at them and I study and I improve. I'm not relying only on my talent, natural talent. I work on the skills that I'm not that good at naturally if I need them. Okay? So it is a good idea to become good in these different areas. Okay? If for nothing else, do it for security. Do it for safety. Okay? So that you don't rely on only one source of income. Okay? It is important to consider that. What usually happens is that dancers get excited, you know. When I was performing in Egypt, for instance, and I was just performing, I was working with Mahmoud, but I was not getting paid by Mahmoud because he never charged me for training. So we made a deal, a personal deal, that he would teach me everything he knew and I would be available to work with him free of charge anytime and every time he needed. So we honored our word. I was not being paid for the work I was doing with Mahmoud. So I had to rely on my income from my performances. I was so excited and I was so busy and exhausted. It rarely crossed my mind, what if this stops for a while? What if something changes? But as I grew up and as I matured and as I started to think about expanding my name and my career, it definitely dawned on me that focusing on one area only was not a good idea, that I had to spread my wings, okay? So that's my advice to you. Spread your wings and develop skills in the different facets of the job, okay? Nonetheless, giving a special focus on the part of the job where you feel your talent resides. Yes? Let me see who's here. Anna Rita says that's unfair. Okay, what is unfair, Anna? I'm curious. Hi, Lucilia. Hello, bom dia, bom dia. Hi, Jamila. Jamila says, I always thought of myself as semi-professional. I had a workshop instructor say that if you are to call yourself a professional dancer, you should be making your total income from the dance. Yes, it is true. I agree. I always instructed college in the sciences while I was studying and performing and promoting the dance to help make ends meet. I am a constant student, however, even though I'm no longer performing or teaching. Yes. So, Jamila, when I speak about being a professional Oriental dancer, I mean making a living off your dance. That's what I mean. Okay, because then again, when you don't need to be paid for your work, or when you have another profession, another job, the pressure is completely different, and the expectations, the standard, the demands are very different, okay? And the way you push yourself is very different as well, okay? The way you push yourself, the quality that you demand from yourself is very different. If you don't need that money, if you have income coming from another profession, it's a different story. So when I speak about becoming a professional Oriental dancer, I mean living off your dance work exclusively, as I've been doing for more than 20 years. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Yeah, it is true. Okay, so what else do I have here? How much do professional Oriental dancers earn? Okay. I selected this question not because I'm going to answer it. I think that, first of all, what every dancer earns, it's up to her or up to him. I don't think we should follow what the market is telling you to follow. I know I never did. So I charge for my work what I think is fair for my work. I don't care what other dancers are earning or not earning. It's not my problem, not my job, because what I offer is very unique. So I'm the only one who can price my work. I'm the only one who can put a price tag on my work. All right? I don't allow others to do that. Actually, I had this kind of discussion with event organizers and people in the business who want to hire you, right? So they will say, okay, I need this show, I need this, I need that, and I'm gonna pay you this. And I've often had this conflict, this clash, and I rejected a lot of work in festivals and big events because they were not paying me what I know I deserve for my job, what my time and my value deserves. So I say, no, thank you. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to work for free, or I'm not going to work being underpaid. It's not going to happen anytime soon. So knowing your worth, knowing the price for your work, and having the guts to assertively and respectfully communicate it to the ones who hire you, to the ones who pay you for your job, for your jobs, is essential. I do not believe there is a price for everyone and a specific value for everyone's work, because the work of different dancers has different value. We're equal, but we're not the same. How can I put this? You know, I price my work according to my talent, my skills, my knowledge, my experience, my vision, the benefits I bring, the service I bring to my clients. May that be clients that hire me for a performance, or clients that hire me for private coaching, or clients that hire me for regular classes or festivals. I price my work according to the value of my work and the value that I deliver to my clients, and also my time, because my time has a price. Okay, and what I could be doing with my time if I was not working, right? So I don't think there is a price for everyone, and I don't think every Oriental dancer earns the same. I definitely know that's not the case. So you have to be able to develop the sense of justice, the sense of fairness that teaches you how to price what you do. And then knowing exactly why you're charging that, right? If somebody asks me, why do you charge for your performance? Why do you charge this value? I know why I charge them this value. I will tell them, I charge you this because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If somebody asks me, why do you charge this for your private coaching? I have an answer. I know why I charge this. It doesn't come in a dream. You know, I know why I charge. I say, I charge this value for my private coaching because I deliver this and that and that and that and that, and the benefits you're going to reap are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you don't know the value of what you deliver, it's really hard to value what you deliver. So what I mean is, it's really hard to price what you deliver. So pricing your work, giving a price to what you do, defining how much you're going to charge, has a lot to do with how much value you deliver and how much value you see in yourself. How much value you see in yourself. So this is one of the most interesting aspects of becoming a professional Oriental dancer. I think it is so hard, it's so challenging, but it's beautiful. How to price my work. Because I'm putting a price on my work, but I'm putting a price on myself as well. And what I see is dancers very often undercharge, or they work for free because they have no self-worth. Oh, what did I say? Oh my God. Yes, I said it. It's true. So many dancers undercharge and they work for free because they believe they're not that valuable, and they believe their work is not that valuable. So this is an exercise of checking how much quality and service you're delivering, but also how much do you value yourself? What is your worth to you? If you feel worthless And if you feel like your work has no dignity, no value, you're going to be terrible at pricing your work. You're not going to charge. And if you don't charge, you're not going to live from your dance. And if you don't live from your dance, you're not going to become a professional. It's a closed circle. I'm not saying that you should never do things for free. Guys, if you've been following my work, you know that I'm perhaps the one that shares the most amount of free content. I share a lot of free, valuable content with my audience, a lot, for years. That's generosity. That's sharing. That's creating a community and engagement, of course, and I actually love it. But I charge for the actual work. If you want to hire me to perform, you have to pay me, and you have to pay me well. And if you ask me why, I'm going to tell you why you have to pay me well, because I know it. I know the value that I'm going to deliver. The same thing for workshops, for classes, for private coaching. My God, absolutely I know the value of what I'm selling. So I'm not going to make it for free or underpriced. No way. So it all goes down to delivering value, and then knowing your worth. Knowing your worth. Okay, super important. Let me see, guys, what you have here. The last question I have selected for you is, can you build a long-term career in Egyptian dance? Anna Rita says, it's true, you share a lot of free content for years. Absolutely. I don't know of any other dancer who shares as much free content as I do continuously, and high quality content. I don't know it. If there is, let me know it. Pop the name of the person in the comments, because I'm curious. I don't know it. So sometimes we confuse knowing your worth and charging for your work with selfishness or being cocky. It's not about being selfish and cocky. I'm very generous with everything I share. I share a lot of free training, free content, free inspiration, free information, knowledge, with love, with pleasure. So there is generosity, but there is always the awareness that I'm a professional dancer. I'm a professional teacher. I own a business, not a charity. I once had a dancer who asked me for private coaching, okay? And then and she's already working professionally, by the way. At least she's teaching, And I sent her the prices. She said, oh my God, this is too high. How can you charge for this? I said, well, because I'm actually gonna give you the tools and the skills I've been gathering for more than 20 years at the highest level. You think I'm gonna deliver all that gold for free? Are you crazy? I run a business. I do not run a charity. I mean, why would I do this for free? It's madness. It is madness. I am not a rich baroness who does this for fun. This is my work. I survive and I thrive. I pay my bills with my work. Of course I have to be paid for my work. And I have to be paid for the value I bring to the table, for the knowledge, the experience, the insight, the information, the transformation I provide to my students. Of course. It's a question of knowing the worth of my work and knowing my worth. And if you don't have that sense of self-worth, you're going to struggle. And you're going to do a lot of free work that you shouldn't be doing for free. So I'm calling your attention to this, okay? I'm calling your attention because I think we misunderstand what it means to be generous and what it means to have no self-respect. I'm generous, but I have self-respect. So there are limits. I'm gonna give for free as much as I feel it is just, it is fair. But I'm also gonna charge for the quality I bring. Absolutely. I was gonna say something absolutely. I said it. Okay. Okay. So Jamila says, But don't you want to dance for exposure or experience? Bahaha. Yes, that's the argument that people use to hire dancers for free. I've been through it, as you can imagine, and I've I've been invited to dance for exposure. I say I've been exposing myself for more than 20 years. I don't need more exposure. The exposure I get is the exposure I create for myself these days. Do not worry. This is a very nasty way of getting dancers to work for free. Okay. And remember, it's your time, it's your energy, it's your knowledge, it's your skills, it's your talent, it's your life that you're giving for free. Gotta start valuing yourself and valuing what you do. Okay. Okay. Thank you, says Mango, for always sharing diamonds. You're welcome. Let me see what you have here. Jamila says, I do that when I can buy groceries and pay rent with exposure. Exactly, exactly. That's what you can answer when someone asks you to work for free. I'm gonna pay my groceries and my rent with exposure. Thank you. I will take that offer. Yeah, give me exposure. It makes no sense, guys. So, can you build a long-term career in Egyptian dance? The answer is obviously yes. So, I've been doing it for a long time and I'm only growing. So, I am the living proof that you can build a long-term successful career in this field, but I'm not the only one. There are dancers, Egyptian dancers, foreign dancers, who've been doing this job for a long time and doing beautiful things and growing and serving their communities and serving their clients and performing and teaching and lecturing and writing. There are a bunch of beautiful professionals in this field in Egypt and also outside of Egypt who are the proof, the living proof that yes, you can build a long-term, successful, sustainable, expansive career in this field. Absolutely, you can. I am going to close this session now. I have answered the questions I have selected for you. You can still launch your questions at me when you watch the recording. I promise to answer them in some way, shape, or form. I'm going to invite you once more to join our newsletter if you haven't done so yet. I am going to share the link to the newsletter in the comments to this post if you're watching this in my Facebook. And I'm going to share it in the description box below the video if you happen to be watching this at my YouTube channel. And I'm going to invite you to join the newsletter, check the free learning page that I'm also sharing with you, and overall be a part of this community of ever-growing dancers from all over the world who are in love with authentic Egyptian dance, personal discovery, and empowerment. For the ones who may be interested in private coaching for professionals, I rarely talk about this because it's something I do not promote. I have my own private coaching clients for years, and I'm very proud to announce that I never had to promote it because I'm very lucky. I have dancers promoting me and promoting my private coaching in my back very kindly, very generously. But I'm going to mention it. So if you are a professional or if you want to become a professional Oriental dancer and if you would like some private coaching to help you launch yourself as a performer, as a teacher, as a business owner, whatever, I will invite you to check my private coaching programs. I do private coaching programs for dancers of all levels. That's the regular private coaching, and we work around the goals and the challenges of that particular dancer. So the programs are 100% personalized and built around you and your needs and your goals. And then we have the private coaching programs for professionals. That's a different kind of program. And there I only accept advanced students who are ready to launch themselves professionally, and we focus on the professional level of Egyptian Oriental and Folkloric dance. If you would like more information about my private coaching, I'm gonna drop my email And all you gotta do is email me and ask me for more info on my private coaching programs. I love you guys. I will see you soon. Thank you for attending live. Thank you for the comments, the questions, for your presence, your beautiful energy. I will see you very soon. Until then, all my love and my usual big kiss. Mwah. Welcome to movement number 3. This is what I call the square. We're going to draw a square in front of our chest and then bring that square into a frame that surrounds our head, our face. The area where we are moving with, or in front of, is the chest, not the face. So make sure you're going to draw that square in front of your chest, not in front of your face. When one arm goes up, the other one goes down, respecting the rule of the hand lift and the hand going down, touching the wall. It's the same principle we have used for the arm undulations. When it goes up, the hand is falling. When it goes down, the hand is touching an imaginary wall. One is up, one is down, and they are alternating each other. When one goes up, the other one goes down, and vice versa. Now let's bring only one arm into action and really clean, really polish the movement. Let's bring them together and remember, when one goes up, the other one goes down. They're always in alternation. Keep the square tight and in front of your body. Do not allow your elbows to lose control. Keep your elbows aligned forward so that the movement is clean and harmonious. Now let's bring the square up and frame our face, our head, for more expression. We're calling the attention to our expression, especially the eyes. Remember, the eyes are the doors to our soul. So this is the square in front of your chest, and then you bring the square, or one of the arms in the square, around your face, around your head. And you're also alternating them. Exactly. They start in your shoulders. When one goes
Snake
up,
arms
the
are
other one
composed
goes
by
down.
4 parts.
We are doing
or
the
4
same
points.
square figure,
The first
but
point is the
framing
shoulders.
our face.
Shoulder rolls.
Alternated shoulder
the same
rolls going
technique.
backwards, like that. You can go for
Those are
only
vertical
one arm
circles
or both arms
going
in
backwards
alternation with our shoulders. The second point is the
Bravo.
elbows. That's it. The third
Show
point
your
is the
beautiful
wrists
face
and your eyes. That's
and the
your
fourth
movement
point
number
is the
3.
tips of your
Welcome
fingers.
to movement number 4. So break this movement down to these 4
snake
points
arms
and connect
one of the
those
movements
points to
dancers
create
love
the
the
snake
most.
arm effect. Notice that I'm starting the movement with the shoulders at all times. Exactly. We're going to draw the movement horizontally, and that horizontal line as a rule, but we can go down, and with time you can create variations. Remember that it is important to finish the movement with a hand undulation, the same hand undulation I've already taught you inside this signature course.